everyone, I'm back. Today what I thought I'd do was address something that people ask me quite a lot about on the ice, which is what can I do at home or when I'm not at the rink to improve my turns, whether it's getting that first 3 turn when you're going through learn to skate or your mohawk, or if it's trying to get your turns called in your step sequence in competition. Fundamentally, what you need to do is the same, whatever level you're at. It's basically working on your posture, working on your balance, a little bit with the flexibility with the rotation of the body and the hip turn out. So those are the kind of things that this is going to look at. I've got a number of little exercises, none of them are particularly difficult, but they will all help and assist. Okay, so the first one is a posture explanation. Fundamentally, when we turn, we need to have our body over our skate. So we need one alignment, we need the ribs in, hips under. I talk about this all the time. Okay, so that back's nice and straight and we're over our feet. When we turn, our feet come underneath us, key. Whether it's for a 3 turn or a mohawk, bracket, I didn't actually demonstrate through something there, a rocker, difficult to do it on the mat, counter, whatever it might be, Choctaw, everything is underneath us, and that's just a general rule with skating. Bring your feet together. If our posture's out, we're sticking our bottom out, it's actually impossible virtually to get your feet underneath you because your centre's ahead of your feet. So taking time to learn your basic posture, learn where your centre is and get that back nice and strong and straight is really important. Okay, so that's the first thing. Ribs in, hips under, squeeze your bottom, long tall back. Next thing, okay, is looking at the lift. So turn and rotation happens with twist and lift. So generally when we turn a one-footed turn, we rock either to our toes or our heels, depending whether we're turning from forwards to backwards, or we go forwards on blade, or backwards to forwards where we rock slightly back. It's not the whole way forward or backwards, it's kind of under the ball of the foot and towards the frontish of the heel. But what we do have is a rise, and a rise to those points. So just something you can practice at home, down and up, down and up. So it's like a little half squat, but with the body staying strong. Okay, down, up, down, up. When we're actually turning on the blade, the movement forward and back is there, but it's subtle. So obviously we're not going all the way to the toes, but we are going forward onto the ball of the foot. So you can experiment with moving your weight, just rocking forwards and backwards, ball of the foot, heels, ball, heels, but keeping that centre strong, and then doing some little squats with a little rise afterwards. So it's a plie and rise in dance terms, okay, or like a half squat up to get that feeling of lift, down, up, and we can do it at a slightly quicker pace because obviously when we turn it is quick. We won't be going that high, but it does give you a feeling of that lift that we get. But I'm actually going to move the mat out of the way for now. I will use it again later, but it's going to allow me to move a little bit more. So as we push into a 3 turn, down, up. Obviously smaller on the ice, but there is a rise. Or a bracket, down, up, turn. And notice the feet turn, come in. Okay. Now, most of our turns happen in turn line. Okay, so in turns position, which is like a coupe. So something worth practicing is that coupe position with the foot turned out, the hips are forward, nice 45-degree angle. So there's 0 to the supporting leg, 90 to the supporting leg, 45 is there, and we close there. And that's the position we're hitting as we do the 3 turn, as we go for our rocker. Obviously you can't see my curves and shapes here, and the circles. That only really works on the ice. I have done some off-ice videos trying to explain that, but it is very difficult without actually having the glide. So when we are able to return to the ice, I will break this down and show you some on the actual ice with shape. Again, bracket, that turn line, so work on that position. It helps to practice some pliés, because here we can think of the bending and coming back up, the drawing back up, with the control of the posture, particularly in like a third position. And this is my dog. And she's just joining the video and she's gonna watch. Okay, so I need to. Hi, Bubba. Hey, money. Okay, so third position from ballet is very similar to where we bring our feet together for our turns in skating. So heel to the instep, down and up, down and up. You could be holding a bar to try this, or you can do this standing in centre. Okay, we don't need to do a full plie, we're just doing demi-pliés. And then you can, to test your balance, take it to a rise, down, and then take it to a rise. There, same with the other foot, down, and up, bend, and up. Obviously you can practice these in first, which again helps with the control of the balance. Okay, but more for turns. Third is quite useful. Again, second can help with the rotation out in the hip, which is useful for mohawks, but at the point of the turn still, we would want our feet together, so third is better. Really useful, if you can get it, is a fifth position, which is a lot more turned out. This is heel to toe. Now, that tends to be a little bit further than we go on the ice, but you can really feel the strong rotation in the hip. Okay, and it is useful for things like trapdoors. Down and up, down and up, down and up, and the other fifth, down and up. And as you can see, I'm focusing on elongating my back, so as my knee bends, my body pulls tall. Wobble there, down and up, and I stay centre. It's, I've said this before, it's like bending through a lift shaft, so I can't rock forward, back with the pelvis, and that's when I turn, it's that same thing, it's plie and lift, bend and rise. To warm up your hip rotation, just do some opening the gate, so lifting the knee up, bring it forward, rotating it out to the 90 to get that feeling. If you're feeling a bit tight, it's a really nice quick warm up. Okay, so twist and lift. Twist. When we do a lot of our turns, particularly when we're learning them, we talk about pre-rotating the shoulders and letting the body follow. So I might be going, particularly the 1 foot turns, into a 3 turn. So 3, I turn my shoulders and then I follow with my hips. Okay, so it is twist and lift. We want to learn to isolate so that it's not the whole body twisting, because then we lose, hi Marnie, we lose our centre. If our whole body twists, I'm no longer, if you can see, over my foot, my body's forward. So I take the shoulders and then follow. So, something off ice, just practice standing nice. The dog's going to sit back down again. It's very busy today. So we can practice keeping the body forward and just turning the shoulders. Okay, and then we can practice turning the ribs so that we're getting a little bit more there, and then you can practice actually rotating side to side, so you can start to feel the difference between shoulders and then the body and the whole body. Okay, so you can isolate and understand that. I'll do some stretches to help warm that up. Okay, we want to learn to come in for our turn. So down, pull up. So basic skating lines, but also practicing extending and then closing underneath you. So you practice just bringing your feet together. You can do things like practice tondus from ballet, which are just a point and they follow the line, but it just helps you to know where your feet are. Really simple things. Okay, again, keeping very balanced, very still to the back. If you think about the back 3. Okay, again, turn, comes under. Okay, so just practicing basically closing feet together either through skating lines, which is ideal, or through tondus. And you can also practice things like a fondu, which from ballet, which is a melt and out, because you can really focus on that coupe position, and that's a lot like skating line anyway. Back in, so we can practice finding our positions. Okay, balance. Sorry for that. Balance. Key thing with balance is being over the foot, which we've talked about loads anyway. So just practice standing on one foot, moving the foot around, lengthening it out, and just knowing where your centre is. No matter what you're doing, just really simple balance. Practice some rises and balancing, so that your core is strong and still, holding that shape. Okay, holding nice and still, so that you're feeling over your supporting foot, because that's what we need during our turns. I'll just grab something. Obviously you can practice all this on the balance board to make it a little bit more challenging. Okay. You can practice it even on dummy point, and once you get nice and comfortable you need to work up to this, but you can practice moving on a dummy point as well, so that you're really challenging your idea of where your centre is, because that's so important with our turns. The other thing you can do to challenge your balance is to shut your eyes, which does make it a lot more, as you can see, a lot more difficult. Okay. Moving your foot. There. So really good ways to challenge your balance. You can also try that on the balance board. Okay. Right, so now some stretches. I did say that turnout was important, so some simple turnout stretches. Really easy one. Sit on your bottom, soles of the feet together, push down with your elbows, body up nice and tall. Okay, or we can gently flutter but don't overdo it. Okay, this is going to help you to get the turn out, particularly for things like mohawks, where the most common reason people don't turn a mohawk is that they simply aren't turned out enough, so that when they enter the turn, they're trying to step from forwards to backwards, but they come in and the feet are both still facing the same way, whereas they actually need to come in to that very open third or even fifth position that we talked about earlier. So we do need to work the hip rotation, because turnout comes from here. So we can do froggies, butterflies, which was what that was, or we can go down to like a little frog squat, and we can just rock side to side, gently pushing those back to open out the hips. Okay, there. Nice and steady. You can sit down on your bottom in a straddle, rotating out from the hips, so the knees are in line with the shins. Okay, and push your forward. Sit there in that to help your tone out. You can start to move from the side, forward, side, holding each of those of course as you get stronger, but to start with, just focus on that turn out. This one's a good little stretch. Everything here should be held and should be done once you're warmed up at the end. So we're going to just have our, try to turn out from the hips, put the sides of our lower leg towards the floor, elbows in front, shoulders in line with hips, push down and try to lower your pelvis towards the floor. Okay, you can really feel that pushing to your hips, because the floor gives you a little bit of resistance there. That's really useful. And you can do a very similar one on your belly with the soles of the feet together and try to bring them down to the floor. And again, hold and push it as low as you can. Bring it in. And that will work into there. And that will help you to get that moment when you bring your foot in plie. And very much with a mohawk or a choctaw, it is very like ballet, because it is bend, rise, plie, big open turn, lift up to our coupe position, or there, rise, plie for a jogto, and then we go back into a different curve, but again through that coupe. The other thing that we need to stretch out is our core, so tap twist. So we can literally just sit cross-legged, look over our shoulder, opposite hand to opposite knee, and look back and see how far you can go. So you can start to get, here what this is doing is holding your pelvis forward, but twisting your upper body, so we're getting that rotation in the shoulders. Okay, there, hold. It's a nice easy one. And you can do the same legs in front, so you can practice with pointed toes as well. For a slightly more advanced version of that, we can lift the knee up and do it. And you can really feel it through going through your back. And if you want to go for a much more challenging one, cross the foot over, bring the opposite hand to the leg that's crossed over underneath and through the outside of the bent leg. Yeah, so we take it under, so you can see my hand wave. And then I can try to clasp there and look over. And that's a really strong stretch with the rotation of the shoulders and back there. So I'll show you from this angle. So there's my knee, it's crossed over, opposite hand comes over, tucks under through the centre, and then I clasp and I can twist. It's a nice little shoulder twist, back twist there to open it up. Okay. Then from there, those are some exercises to strengthen and to work your flexibility. From there, it's just stepping through, spending time going. I'm going to mark a return. I'm going to push shoulders over hips, good posture, bend in, there, rotate the shoulders, follow. I'm going to mark a mohawk, step in, shoulders over hips, rise up, inside open mohawk, foot comes in front with the plie. And then there with my coupe, and you can stretch out, bracket, forward inside as an example, shoulders over hips, good, my posture, everything's in line, bring it in, and there the foot comes under during the turn, but it's still under, coupe, rocker the same, in. Obviously there is a quickness and a rhythm that's key on the ice, counter, forward, outside counter, there, and you can see it pass through. It wasn't quite so much of a coupe, it was a little bit more parallel, but same thing, it still came underneath your similar thing. Choctaw, continuous choctaws, double choctaws, forward, inside open, backwards outside closed, shoulders over hips, feet come underneath shoulders. Minimal. The higher up you get and the stronger you get, the less obvious the shoulder movement becomes as well. That's really, it becomes much more subtle, but it's still just there to help you. You can feel, it's more of a feeling rather than a look. When you're starting out and you're trying to get your first forward outside three turn, you probably are going to use that a fair bit to help get you around, because you're going to need it to create your rotation, but it becomes much more of a like a feeling inside as it comes, as you become kind of more settled into the movement. Anyway, I do plan to do some on the ice when we do get back, so I can talk you through it and you can start to actually see the shapes of the turns. But these ideas with hip turn out, with twist and rotation, with balance, with posture, all key to getting your turns on the ice, be it your first three turn or a level whatever step sequence in competition. Alright everyone, bye bye, stay safe.